Do you guys have 2003 Dom Perignon?
No.
Okay. And do you have room service?
Yes. We have a full bar, and then for our food, we have 1 to 2 person shareable pizzas.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, the Brooke Ashley, and today we are here to discuss The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, Season 4, Episode 2. And before we jump into it, let me just start off by saying that this episode was everything. I came into this season of SLC with no expectations, and they are really doing it. I am pleasantly surprised. Heather and Whitney, the way I'm about to wear y'all both out, because you guys both tried it at different points of this episode, especially you, Whitney, because the audacity for you to bring somebody who is not invited on a girls' trip that you're not hosting. Heather, I just don't understand why you're so fixated on what's going on in Lisa's house. But we'll talk more about that later on, don't you worry. But y'all, I have a lot to say. Let's just jump right on into it because you guys already know that we don't have a minute to spare. Now we open up the episode with Meredith and Lisa meeting up. It's been 2 years since they have finally talked one-on-one, and they both miss their friendship. They're a bit apprehensive, but they're determined to make things work. So as they're walking, Meredith bought them some coffee, so they're drinking, catching up, and Meredith is saying that Chloe's getting ready to graduate from college. We find out that Lisa's excited for 2 graduations. Her youngest son is graduating elementary school, and her oldest son is graduating high school. So now Meredith is asking about the whole college process, and Lisa reveals that in lieu of college, Jack wants to go on a mission. So Lisa goes on to say that one of Jack's friends got selected to do a mission in Switzerland. One of his other friends was selected to do a mission in Milan. And Lisa's like, oh my gosh, if he gets Milan, I'm gonna love that. And then she jokes around saying that Jack was telling her, Mom, it's not a shopping trip. Now, you already know that Lisa probably told somebody at that church to make sure that Jack gets a good destination. I'm sure she's hoping that he gets somewhere cool like Paris or somewhere really exotic and just sexy. But I'm sure she'll be annoyed if he doesn't get a hot city. So after they get done talking about the kids and catching up, Meredith says, look, it's been a rough 2 years. We used to be really close. I miss that. Our families always hung out together. We see a flashback of when Meredith and Lisa would have date nights with their husbands. And so Lisa agrees. Lisa's like, yeah, it has been rough. So now Meredith goes on to say that the only way for them to move forward is to forget about the past and just move on. And now we see them both apologizing to each other. Lisa apologizes to Meredith about the hot mic moment that occurred 2 years ago. Remember that whole thing when they went to Zion in season 2 and Lisa was calling Meredith all types of whores, saying that Meredith had sex with half of New York. And then Meredith goes on to apologize to Lisa for involving herself in spreading the rumors about Lisa and John and their marital issues. Remember all that mess about Lisa was giving BJs for Utah Jazz tickets? She's apologizing for that. Now, one thing that really irks me about Lisa, the fact that Lisa tries to play victim to circumstances that she created. Because when she said, I'm still apprehensive, I'm still cautious about moving forward, and I'm thinking, Lisa, you do realize that had you not had that hot mic moment, there wouldn't be any issues or bad blood between you and your former best friend. Don't try to act like Meredith retaliating last season isn't because of what you said in season 2. I just kind of feel like while Lisa did apologize, there still feels like she's not 100% owning it. Because it's still all of this, well, my feelings are hurt and things won't be the same again. And it's like, things won't be the same again because you caused it. You should have never said what you said. And if you were going to say that, make sure to say that when the cameras are down and your microphone is off. But you can't get mad that Meredith held a grudge and retaliated. What were you expecting? But they both hug it out and they both say that they want a fresh start. Now, we're going to see if Meredith and Lisa are able to get back on track. For some reason, I feel like they're going to face a few more obstacles in their friendship. I don't know why. I just feel like when it comes to Lisa, you don't really know where her loyalty lies. I feel like Lisa is all about herself. Now we jump to the next scene with Heather and Whitney hanging out. They're at a hot spring. I noticed that those hot springs are very popular in Utah because every single season, we always see somebody on this cast at one. So anyhow, Heather and Whitney are both excited / anxious to see each other because it's going to be their first outing together in quite some time. So anyhow, they're talking about Heather's brunch, and Heather says that she feels like it went well. And now Whitney's like, I have to say, I was really surprised to see Mary there. When did you and Mary become friends again? Like, are you guys cool? Are you hanging out? And Heather says, no, that's not what happened. I invited you, Lisa, and Meredith, and then you guys all brought friends. So here goes Whitney stirring the pot, and she's like, I also noticed that Lisa invited Angie K as her +1. Did you even want her there? So Heather's like, no, I didn't want her there. I don't like Angie K. And now we find out from Heather that they go way back. Heather and Angie K both went to the same high school. They were in the same math class together. And Heather goes on to say that they shared the same friends, but they were in different cliques. She goes on to say that she was in a tight-knit Mormon clique and Angie K hung out with the other Greek kids. Now, Heather, here's where I got a bit confused because at one point you said that you and Angie K were friends in high school. Then you said that you guys were never friends. I'm like, which one is it? Also, I feel like there's more to the story that you're not telling us because you get a bit aggressive every time Angie K's name is brought up. And for me, it's reading like you're threatened by Angie K. And maybe I'm reading things the wrong way, but that's just what it feels like to me. Because I understand why you were upset with Angie K last season, but the venom that you have for her, I feel like there's more to the story. It's almost like, damn, did she steal your man? Did she steal some money from you? Why are you so pressed every time her name comes up? I wouldn't give Angie K that kind of power. And I also get the impression that you probably want to be friends with Angie K because it sounds like she was the cool girl in school and maybe she pushed you to the side and you still have some lingering feelings about that. Is that what it is? Because again, I don't really understand why you hate her so much. So now Heather goes on to say that it left a bad taste in her mouth to see Angie K dive headfirst in her friendship with Jen Shah last year. And now all of a sudden, since Jen's in prison, now she's trying to be best friends with Lisa. Now, if I recall, Lisa said that she's known Angie K for 20 years. So I don't understand why Heather's acting like Angie K just met Lisa and is trying to be her best friend. I really feel like it's jealousy that Angie K is getting close to Lisa and Lisa still is paying Heather dust. Because let's not forget, the first 3 seasons of this show, Heather was desperate to get close to Lisa. Her and Whitney made that known that their dying wish was to be Lisa's best friend. So in a way, Heather might be a bit jealous at the fact that Lisa is now going to have a new best friend and it's not going to be her. I also found it comical for Heather to have the audacity to call anybody a flip-flopper. Heather, if you think that Angie K is a flip-flopper, then what are you? Again, this show has been on for 4 seasons, and we've seen Heather flip-flop all the time. Let's talk about how you flip-flopped about Jen. You were her ride or die. You were standing 10 toes down for her. You even said that if Jen goes to jail, you would still be down for her. And now we see you in the first episode last week talking about, oh my gosh, she's in jail. I'm done. I feel like a burden has been lifted off of me since she's gone. You flip-flop constantly. And it was also interesting when she said, yeah, I just feel like Angie K is really messy. I don't vibe with her. I just don't like how she moves. And here goes Whitney. She's talking about, well, I like Angie K. I think that she's fun and a good time. I said, yeah, I'll bet you guys $100 that Angie K is going to be the reason why Whitney and Heather still have lingering beef throughout this season. I think it's telling that Whitney just loves Heather's enemy this much. So here's where things take an interesting turn in the conversation, and Heather brings up how at her brunch she was eavesdropping on the conversation that was had between Lisa, Meredith, Angie K, and Whitney, where Lisa was revealing that Jack is not going to college, but he's going to be going on a missions trip. And I think it was Whitney or Angie K who goes on to ask if Lisa told Heather about this. And Lisa says, no, this conversation, this news is not for everybody. And I said, oh, okay. So now it's about to be some more drama between Lisa and Heather. Now, I know I can't be the only person confused by Heather's reaction. Heather starts talking about Jack going on this missions trip is really weird to her, and she's curious to find out what Jack's motivations are for going on a missions trip. Then she says that when she went on her missions trip, she only did it because her best friend Diane wanted to go, and they had both graduated college, they were single, no boyfriends, and she says, sure, why not? Now, let me just stop here. Heather, who are you to question this boy's motives for why he wants to go on the missions trip? That's not your child. That's not your place. And also, you're no longer in the Mormon church. You've been excommunicated, right? You wrote the book blasting them. So why are you so concerned about what anybody's doing in their life? I feel like, Heather, do you want to be back in the church? Because again, why do you care? So Heather goes on to say that on her missions trip with her friend, they both took death oaths. And we find out that a death oath is when you vow to keep Mormon ceremonies and practices a secret unless you're under the penalty of death. So it got really weird. Heather went on this long rant about how it's grueling work. It's not a walk in the park. You're pretty much like a door-to-door salesman trying to sell the Church of Latter-day Saints. So now she's like, when I look at Lisa, I don't see Mormon. Mormons are supposed to abstain from caffeine and alcohol, and she has her own tequila business, and she has Lisa-inspired cocktails. And I said, girl, what's going on? You drink, don't you? You're on a reality show, you curse, you party. So how are you judging Lisa? And also, sis, if you've divorced yourself from the Mormon church, then why are you so pressed about Lisa's lifestyle choices? One thing about it, I don't care what religion you practice, I cannot stand a self-righteous or sanctimonious person. Who the F are you? You're not going to sit up here and judge me? Like, that's not happening. I was so confused. And I don't care what anybody says. Heather is giving off jealousy. I really feel like you've put Lisa up on this pedestal and you want to bring her down. I get the impression that you low-key want to be Lisa, because I'm just confused as to why you're pressed about how she lives her life and what her son is doing. Even Whitney was weirded out by the whole conversation. Whitney said, I don't think it's a good idea for Heather to insert herself in what Lisa and her family have going on. That's Lisa's child. Let Lisa and her son do what they think is best. And then when Heather said, I'm just voicing my concerns because Jack's going to be preaching and teaching a brand of Mormonism that Lisa doesn't follow. And I don't think that Lisa's prepared for the person that Jack's going to be when he comes back. Now, Heather, again, I don't know why you're concerned. Also, let's just say that Jack comes back completely transformed. He's super religious, does everything by the Mormon doctrine. At the end of the day, he is well aware of who his mother is, and they're going to have to navigate that together. Also, why are you assuming that Jack is going to end up being this super religious Mormon the way you were when you came back from your Mormon mission trip? He might come back 2 years from now and decide he doesn't want to follow it. He might come back and be the same person. Who knows? Why are you assuming that it's going to be problems in their household because he's going on the mission trip and Lisa's out here drinking and partying? This is just such a silly thing that Heather is focusing on. This isn't her life. And at the very end of the day, Lisa Barlow is a grown woman and she can do what she wants to do. It's her life. And when she meets her maker, she'll have to answer for herself. But I just don't understand why you're so worried about it. I just said, Heather's just getting weirder and stranger as the seasons progress. I can only imagine how insufferable Heather really was when she was a practicing Mormon. I'm sure she was just on her high horse, just unbearable, because she's always had that goody two shoes, teacher's pet, but I still want to be a part of the cool club, but I get rejected by them, and now I have a chip on my shoulder. And I want Heather to really go to therapy and unpack that. Now, this short scene with Meredith was cute. We see Meredith at home, or should I say, one of her brand new rentals for the season. And girl, it's no shade because you always pick a gorgeous house. So Meredith is saying that her and Seth are in a great place. Yes, they had their ups and downs a few years ago, but they're great right now. Then she goes on to say that Seth spends a lot of time with her, and now we learn that they have a podcast, but it's going to be focused on relationships, marriages, and all that good stuff. They're a very cute couple, I have to say. So Seth is asking about the ladies, and now Meredith says that she wants to plan a girls' trip, and she's like, we're all on this path of moving forward and trying to reconnect again as friends. So I think that a nice trip to Palm Springs would be really cute. So Meredith says that she wants to invite Lisa, Whitney, Heather, and the new girl, Monica. Now, Seth was taken aback. He was just like, oh, you and Lisa are cool? And she's like, yeah, we went out on a walk the other day. We're just trying to rebuild, reconnect. And you could tell that Seth was shocked. And I think that Seth is still pissed at Lisa for what she said about him in season 2. So I couldn't gauge his reaction. I couldn't tell if he was happy to hear that they're back to being friends again, or if he's a bit annoyed about it. I don't know. Now, when we get to Angie K at home, first off, let me just say, I completely forgot how gorgeous Angie K's home is. And I was high-key gagged when Angie K revealed how they get their money. And she said, me and my husband own 10 hair salons and a cosmetology school. I said, oh, their money is real long.
Bling, bling, bling. Bitches is mad.
Because for some reason, since she associated with Jen Shah, I got the impression that Angie K was out here faking and frauding too. So when she told us how she has her money, I said, okay, so Angie K is rich for real. I said, let me find out that Angie K is slowly growing on me. So now we see Angie K in her confessional, and she admits that when it comes to her priorities, it's her daughters, their businesses, and then it's her husband. Now, I already get the sense that throughout this season, we're going to see that they're having some marital issues, because later on in the episode, we see that her husband, Sean, isn't too happy with how things are going in their marriage and how they don't really get that quality time with each other. And in the trailer, it does show that they're going to have some major blowouts, and it sounds like her husband threatens to run and tell the church about their latest argument. So I wouldn't be surprised if there happens to be a separation or a divorce, because they both look like they're not that happy. But anyhow, they're having lunch and they're talking about Heather. Sean wants to know if she's spoken to Heather recently. And Angie K says, well, not really, but I did see her at her brunch last week. So Angie goes on to say that things have been very weird between them for quite some time, and she wants to fix that. She wants them to be friends again, and she just wants them to start off on a clean slate. So now we learn from Angie K that they went to the same high school. She met Heather when Heather moved to Salt Lake City when she was 15, and she says that Heather was a great student, she was the funny one, and they really bonded over being silly and just having fun together. Now, I have to say, the way Angie K told her memories about Heather in high school and the way Heather retold the story of how they met and how they weren't really friends, but they kind of were. It sounds like Angie K and Heather both have two different recollections of their time in high school. Heather has a more negative memory and Angie K has a more positive memory. So Angie K goes on to say that she just wants to have a friendship again and she wants to hit the restart button. She's not trying to have a surface level friendship with Heather. Now, the way Heather really isn't featuring Angie K, I don't see them having a friendship. I don't. I think what really kills me about Heather is that she took such piss poor treatment from Jen Shah for years. And the fact that she wants to hold this grudge against Angie K and everybody else, it's mind-boggling. Because I don't understand how you put up with Jen Shah all those years, but now you want to hold everybody else's feet to the fire? I'm confused by it all. I really am. I think that Heather's just strange. That's really all I can say. I just think that her logic is off. Because how are you this mad at Whitney and Angie K, but yet you let Jen Shah slide, and Jen Shah was calling you Shrek and all sorts of names, but that was fine? I don't get it. Monica won me over when we got to her scene. I say, yeah, bravo, great choice. So Monica's at home, and mind you, Monica's home, it's a cute home, but it's not a mansion. So already we know that her money is not long. Where Monica is financially compared to everybody else on this cast, Monica is the Gina of SLC. But the difference is Monica is giving us a real storyline, a great personality, and some good drama. So there's a clear difference. Gina on OC gives us absolutely nothing. And I feel like if you can't bring us the funds or the fashions on Housewives, you've got to have a compelling story. And Monica definitely checks the boxes with a great storyline because she has stories for days. So anyhow, she's at home, her mom's over, and we learn that she's half Colombian and half Portuguese. So Monica goes on to say that she's originally from Boston and she moved to Salt Lake City 10 years ago, and her mother and her grandmother followed suit. So I think it's so cute because her mom and grandma live 3 minutes away from her, and because she has 4 girls, she loves the fact that her mom and grandma can always drop by. So we find out more about Monica. Her mom converted to Mormonism when Monica was only 6 years old, and she's always had a love-hate relationship with the religion. I really love the transparency. Monica goes on to say that when she was married to her husband, things were good. She didn't worry about anything. But now since she's single and raising her girls by herself, her company that she started is pretty much her lifeline. And I think her company sells baby clothes. But either way, she says that her company is currently keeping them afloat. Now, Monica brings up the girls' trip to her mom because she needs her mom to watch the girls while she's away for 3 days. Her mom had me screaming. She was like, girl, what? You're going to be gone for 3 days? Because my limit with your girls is 3 hours. Mama was not trying to watch those kids. And when Monica was going over the schedule, she's like, well, this one has to go to school at 7:10, and then this one has to go to school at 8 a.m. Her mom said, girl, what?
No.
So now Monica reveals that she's a bit nervous for this girl's trip because she feels like she's out of her league. So her mom is confused, like, why would you feel like you're out of your league for a girl's trip? So we find out that Monica is self-conscious about not having the money that the other women have. So she's like, I went to the Louis Vuitton store and I bought myself a new bag because I don't want to be the girl who has nothing. And she's sobbing at this point. And may I tell you something? It was this scene where I said, this is a real moment, and this is what the viewers want to see. I love the fact that Monica is not trying to get up here and pretend like she's got money like that. She's like, no, girl, I'm starting from scratch. I'm not happy about it. I am not on the same financial level. I'm a bit embarrassed about it, but it is what it is. I love the transparency. That was a real moment. And I like the fact that on top of it being a real moment, I think it resonated with a lot of people. I think that more people who would care to admit can relate to what she said. If you're in a social group where if everybody has a ton of money and you don't, you can barely pay the bills that you have, you might feel a bit insecure, or you might feel a bit like you don't belong if everybody around you can drop tens of thousands of dollars and you can't. But one thing my dad always drilled in all of us was your fortune can change at any time, and you never know what tomorrow will bring. And just because you're down today doesn't mean that it's always going to be that way. The person who's down today can be up tomorrow. The person who's on top today can be down tomorrow. I've seen people who have had a lot of money and they lost it in a very weird turn of events. And I've seen people who they needed that one break and they got it and their life turned around just like that. So I feel like, Monica, there's no reason to feel ashamed. Money does not define you, because trust me, somebody can have more money than you and be jealous of you. And we spoke about that in my live that I did for OC on Sunday. And I said a bit more to that, which is why I took the video down, because I think I overshared, but I digress. But I just feel like, don't let what you have or what you don't have define you, because things can turn just like that. If you play your cards right, with all the opportunities of being on a major platform like Bravo and The Real Housewives, sweetheart, you're going to have the kind of money that they have in a few seasons. NeNe came on Atlanta broke. Half of Potomac came on their show broke. And look at them. Now they're rich. So don't feel bad about that. And don't put your stock or your worth in clothes and bags and shoes. Yes, designer clothes are nice. Having lots of expensive jewelry is nice. It's a flex. I'm not going to deny that. Having money is a great thing. We're not going to sit up there and lie. But don't let that be where your value lies. And the fact that you're on this show, you're about to be in a different tax bracket real soon. So I said, girl, dry your tears. You're going to be just fine, honey. Listen, Monica won me over with that scene. I was here for the honesty. I loved it. Now, I also thought it was interesting when Monica discussed her father and how her dad left her and her mom when she was 4. And she says when he walked out that door, she never saw him again. Then she goes on to say that her mom burned up all his pictures, so she couldn't even tell you what he looked like. She says the last thing she remembered about her dad was that he was gay and had a boyfriend and lived in Florida. I said, Miss Monica, with a backstory like this, you're going to be on this show for seasons to come. So again, I would not be crying about money, because the way the money is about to come to you tenfold, you have a good story, sis. I would not be sad. I need to stop playing and really get into my true calling, motivational speaking. Let me stop it. I thought this scene with Angie K and Whitney and their husbands going out for a group date night, I thought it was interesting. It's also very telling that both couples are obviously having issues. When Whitney said, yeah, we've been through a lot this past year. Justin lost his job. I started my own business. And we're both coming to terms with the fact that we're bad communicators. And then Justin said, oh, you're finally admitting that you're a bad communicator too? I said, yeah, I won't be surprised if Whitney and Justin get divorced next, because they look like they're unhappy with each other ever since he lost his job. She's probably looking at him like, child, when are you getting another one? And then Sean revealed that him and Angie don't spend enough time together. And when he went on to say that their 12-year-old daughter is always in the bed with them. And I just said, now, Angie, I know you love your daughter and that's great and all, but you and your husband need that time together. And even Whitney was like, now girl, when do you and Sean have sex if she sleeps in your bed every single night? It's giving they're about to be headed for a divorce. So now they start talking about Heather's brunch, and Angie K says that she got the impression that Heather wants to have a clean slate with everybody except for her. So now Whitney's like, well, that might be so, but are you excited for the girls' trip? So Angie's like, girl, what? What girls trip? So come to find out, Miss Meredith did not invite Angie K. She's not featuring Angie K either. And Angie's really surprised by it. And now you have Whitney saying, well, I want you to come on the girls trip as my guest, so I'm inviting you. And I said, now Whitney, in real life, that's not how this works. Also for me, I have too much pride and too high of self-esteem to force somebody to like me. If I wasn't invited, I'm not going. I'm never going to beg or grovel for an invitation somewhere. I don't want anything that's not given freely. One thing about it, these husbands are activated because Angie K's husband was pissed. He was like, what? She didn't invite you on the girls' trip? Why would she do that? We've been really good to her. We helped her out with her fashion show. We had hairstylists come and do the model's hair for free. And we lost money doing that. And I just said, well, damn. I said, Meredith, that's dead ass wrong of you then to not invite Angie K if she helped you out like that. And what's with all these women who claim to have all this money? What's with all them trying to get freebies for everything? Meredith, you have millions, so next time, pay for hairstylists. I just can't stand when I hear stories about how these women don't want to pay makeup artists or hairstylists, or they want comped meals at restaurants. It's one thing if the establishment offers you a free service or a free meal. It's another thing for you to have money and ask for free stuff. I can't stand that. Lord willing, if I really blow up, you don't have to worry about me asking for a freebie. I promise you, if you beat my face, if you lay my hair down, if you're a stylist, you will be getting paid. And you'll be getting paid on time. I don't play. I don't believe in asking folks for freebies. And with the cost of living and inflation, nobody has time to be paid in clout. The rent and American Express are due each month. So stop playing with folks and pay them. I thought it was interesting when Angie K mentioned that she feels like they're both trying to ice her out the group. And I could see that. But the thing is, for an ice out to be successful, the whole cast has to band together and not film with you. Angie K still has options. She's still friends with Whitney and Lisa and Monica. So she has folks to film with. She'll be good. So we jump over to Heather and Monica doing some shopping for the Palm Springs trip. And they start talking. They're getting to know each other. And so when Angie K's name gets brought up, Heather's whole demeanor changed. She's all rude, talking about, yeah, I don't like her. I don't see it for her. She's just not my type of girl. I don't want to get to know her. And I said, once again, Heather, you can't be that angry at what happened last season. And I'm willing to bet that there's some other stuff that we don't know about, because I feel like your anger is disproportionate to the matter at hand. I don't understand how you put up with Jen Shah, but yet you really want to hold Angie K's feet to the fire like this, where you hate her that much. It's really strange. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Heather's a bit threatened by Angie K, and maybe she's scared that Angie K might end up being the new fan favorite or the new queen bee of the show. So maybe that's why she doesn't like Angie K. I don't know. That's what it's giving to me. And I didn't like how Heather was questioning Monica. She was like, so how do you know Angie K? And how do you know Lisa? And so Monica's like, oh, well, I met Lisa through Jen and I met Angie K through Lisa. And it's just like, Monica, you don't owe Heather an explanation about anything. Who is she? So Heather's digging for more information, and she wants to know if Monica is Mormon. So Monica says, yes, I was raised in the Church of Latter-day Saints since I was 6. And Heather's shocked. She's like, I had no idea you were raised Mormon. Like, oh my gosh, how did I not know this? So Monica drops another bombshell. She says, I was married in the Mormon temple, and I was also excommunicated because I was sleeping with my brother-in-law for 18 months. The way my mouth dropped. I said, Monica, first we find out that you were one of the witnesses in Jen Shah's trial, and now we find out that you had a full-blown affair with your brother-in-law. I said, girl. So Heather's like, girl, I know you're lying. How did you get caught? So Monica says, well, actually, I didn't get caught. I came clean because I felt so guilty. So she says that she went right to the church, told them what happened, and they immediately kicked her out. So Heather's like, did they kick him out? And she's like, no. And Heather says, of course not, because when it comes to men and women, the rules are always different. Now, I don't like that. That's some BS. He was cheating on his wife, so kick him out the church. It's so evil to me how they just punish the women so severely, but the men get off scot-free. But then again, why am I surprised? Because that's been the beginning of time where the men can do whatever and the women were stoned to death if they did one thing. Now, I'm curious to find out, did his wife divorce him after it came out, or are they still together? Y'all know how I feel about cheating. So it would have been shout out to everybody. I had fun.
Oh! Shout out to everybody. I had fun. I gotta be good.
Monica has definitely won all of my respect because Mama has come in swinging. She is 2 for 2. Now we see all the ladies packing for the trip. And when I tell you that the scene with Mary, when she calls up the Trixie Motel and she's like, do you guys have the 2013 bottle of Dom Perignon? And do you have room service? And they were like, well, sorry, ma'am, we don't have Dom Perignon. And she's like, who doesn't have that? Like, what are you talking about? And then she's like, so do you guys have room service? And they're like, well, we have pizza if you want. And her son was laughing at her so hard. He was like, Mom, you're going to be okay. I'm so glad Bravo made the right decision to bring Mary back. They know they needed her. But you could tell that Mary was not impressed. And I'm sure that Mary's already on the edge because it's called the Trixie Motel. Like, girl, we're staying at a motel? Where's the Four Seasons? So now it's the day of the girls' trip. Everybody's at the airport except for Whitney. They're all like, where's Whitney? Do you guys want to wait for her? And Meredith informs them that Whitney texted her a few hours ago and let her know that she took an earlier flight, so she'll see them there. So Meredith is annoyed and she's like, the whole point of us doing this girls' trip is for us to travel together. Now, if you've been watching the newest season of New York, a similar situation happened where one of the ladies went a day before and they were mad at her. So this felt like deja vu. And now we jump over to Palm Springs. And Whitney and Angie K have arrived at the Trixie Motel. And the Trixie Motel was cute. It definitely gave me Barbie Dreamhouse vibes. So Trixie greets them. And Trixie Motel was on RuPaul's Drag Race. So Whitney's like, me and Trixie are actually friends. We've hung out a few times. So I'm glad that I'm here early. And Angie K is right beside her. Now, if I were Angie K, I'd be feeling stupid because, again, I don't want to be anywhere where I'm not wanted. I said Whitney is setting you up for failure, but okay. So now we see Trixie giving them a tour of the motel, and Whitney wants the best room. I said, Whitney, I hope Meredith curses you out because how dare you? This is not your trip. Take one of the smaller rooms and leave the best room to Meredith. How dare you? You're already in the wrong by bringing Angie K on the trip. So now you want the best bedroom? I'm like, Whitney, the way I would wear you out because you try it. So now we flip back to the other ladies. And when I tell you this trip has gone off on the wrong foot already. They've landed in Palm Springs and the unthinkable happens. Lisa lost her $60,000 diamond ring and she is freaking out. She's like, oh my gosh, guys, please find my ring. I can't find my ring. 60 grand down the drain. Where's security? I need to call John. John's going to effing kill me. I can't find my ring. It slipped off my finger. Somebody, please help. Please, I cannot believe I lost my $60,000 diamond ring.
This is horrible. It sucks.
I don't know what could have happened because we all were searching high and low in that lovely public restroom.
I don't think that ring was worth that. First off, I don't think it's worth $60,000.
Now, I'm not going to hold you. I would have been in tears. I probably would have had to turn back around and get on the plane to go home because I don't know how I would be able to regroup after losing my $60,000 ring. And I thought that the other women were very dismissive about it, especially when they got on the Sprinter van to head to the motel. And Mary was like, Lisa's gonna be worried about this all day. And I'm like, well, wouldn't you, Mary? And as materialistic as all of you guys are, I'm surprised that you guys aren't more empathetic. I don't care what anybody says, they would have been pissed too had they lost one of their bags or shoes or diamonds. But Mary really had me screaming when she said, I'm sorry, but I don't believe that that ring was worth that much anyway. I think she's lying. I said one thing about Mary does not mince her words. Now, that's some true friendship because Monica admitted that she stuck her hand in the toilet to find the ring for Lisa. And I said, now, Monica, that's not your ring to be doing all that. If Lisa's so pressed on finding it and she's so scared and worried, let her put her hand in the toilet to find her ring. Why are you doing it? You're not the help. The only people that I would do that for would be my siblings or my mom. I'll look around, but I'm not digging in the garbage. I'm not doing that. My friendship has conditions because rest assured, I doubt that Lisa would do the same if one of them lost their ring. She'd be like, oh, I mean, that's terrible and all, but like, I don't want to get my hands dirty digging in the garbage. Monica also had me screaming. She said, girl, that ring is good as gone. It's made its way down to the pawn shop, so forget about it. Now, I wonder if the person who found Lisa's ring, do they still have it? Do they sell it? If they still have it in their possession, I wonder if they might offer it back to Lisa for a cash reward. I'm curious to find out if somebody found the ring. But Lisa, you have to be more careful. And I really do hope that your ring was insured because you sounded a bit shaky when Mary asked you. She was like, well, it is insured, right? And you were like, well, I really don't know. I have to call John. So now we flip back to Whitney and Angie K. They're out by the pool. And Angie K is like, I can't wait to see their faces when they see that I'm here. And I just said, are you okay? Why do you want to be somewhere where you're not wanted? That's desperate behavior in my opinion. But you know what? To each their own. But it couldn't be me. So now we flip back to the ladies on the Sprinter van. And they're like, does anybody know if Whitney's there or not? I haven't heard from her. And now we see them all pulling up to the Trixie Motel. And as they're opening up the gate, that's where the episode ends. Now, next week looks lit. They all look so pissed that Angie K is there. I just said, baby, it's about to be a mess. But I can't wait. Listen, y'all, SLC is giving this second episode chef's kiss. Y'all did that. All the ladies are understanding the assignment and everybody has clocked in for work and they're giving what the other girls said they were supposed to have gave in the words of Rolling Ray. But y'all, that was my recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching and you already know what to do. Please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe and I will see you all later. Bye.